I don't know where he left off, so I'm gonna go back to the spot with the matches. Let's start here.
To reach out.
This isn't the...
Are you a man with prostate cancer?
Yes, I remember this part. So let's go to the part with the matches, and that's where we'll start off.
Are you a man with prostate cancer that has...
Okay, here we go. Searching, 1973.
Fire. One of the four elements of nature. Something that's existed for as long as the Earth itself. Humans first learned to harness its power over 1 million years ago, using it as a source of light and warmth, and also as a means of scaring away predators. Neanderthals also used it to frighten large animals such as woolly mammoths, forcing them to fall off the edge of cliffs when they hunted them. Today, fire is still an important tool, used for cooking and heating, and still used as a light source by people in more rural areas. Of course, fire can also be very dangerous and potentially even deadly. If not kept under control, it can cause devastating damage to the area around it. Parts of Australia regularly have to deal with huge forest
In
fires,
California,
which can last for weeks or even months, destroying massive areas of woodlands and killing countless animals as well as humans. Of course, the wilderness isn't the only place where people can fall victim to fire. Fires can occur when people are just out and about, shopping for example. They can occur at someone's place of work. And of course, they can occur in your own home. House fires have been a regular subject for PSAs in the UK for as long as PSAs have been made.
So parents, I'd like you to make a promise. Repeat after me. I swear on my child's life to test my smoke alarm on clock change day, to give my family the best chance of surviving a house fire. You did promise, didn't you?
I promise.
Because you can't turn back time.
What happened to his lip? Are you okay? Sir, are you okay? You look a little two-faced.
A fire doesn't have to kill you to take your life.
I love people. Love to be around them, see them smile, see the laughing faces of their young and children in turn. I'm drawn to this flickering hypnosis, to reach out as I do in fateful embrace. My name is Fire. Be careful when you're near me. I can't help myself.
Many people die in house fires every year, though these deaths are usually from smoke inhalation rather than directly from the fire itself. Gas fires, electrical fires, kitchen fires, and the subject of this PSA, children playing with matches.
I've never seen a Christmas tree catch on fire. And to be honest, that kind of looks hilarious. You just go whoosh. How does that happen? Like, you have electronics, and you have a Christmas tree, which I guess will dry out. And you have electronics on the Christmas tree, which might dry out. So, yeah, it does make sense that it'll catch on fire, but a fire that fast just looks hilarious.
For a PSA made in the 70s, this one is actually quite disturbing. Instead of showing people trapped inside a burning house, we see what's left behind after a raging fire destroyed everything inside. We're treated to the visual of a completely burned house. The walls and floors are completely black from being burned by the fire, and as the camera moves throughout the house, we hear the ghostly screams of people who died in the fire, including a child screaming for their mother. The child is apparently the one who inadvertently started the fire while they were playing with matches. It's a disturbing and tragic thought that a child ended up killing their family because they didn't realize how dangerous the matches they were playing with happened to be. This PSA definitely does a good job of showing how devastating a house fire can be. Not by showing the fire in action, but instead showing what the inferno leaves behind.
Only fragments.
Nancy? Jimmy? matches away from children.
We don't really have to worry about matches anymore because now we have light sticks or like fire sticks. You know, like the thing you get there, you push the clicker down on and it goes. And we still have to worry about that because if a kid could figure out how to work one of those, yeah, it's a lot worse. Matches are more difficult to play with. Like, it's harder to, like, light. Even though it's pretty simple, it's still difficult to use. So something quick and easy, like a lighter, is a lot worse. Even though it's still difficult. No seatbelt, no excuse. 2001.
Of all PSA subject matters, road safety is easily one of the most frequently promoted. Ever since the 1970s, there have been countless PSAs aimed at both children and adults. Probably the most famous were those featuring the legendary Green Cross Code Man, played by the late David Prowse, who some of you may know for being the suit actor for Darth Vader in the original Star Wars trilogy. And just like in those movies, David was dubbed over because the filmmakers apparently didn't like his Bristol accent.
When you get to the curb, always stop, stop, stop.
His PSAs were always light-hearted and were simply designed to teach children how to safely cross the road. People who saw the films as children still acknowledge what they learned from him to this day, saying how his advice saved their lives. The Green Cross Code Man was so beloved that David Prowse even played him one last time in 2014 at 80 years old, appearing in 2 short films aimed at young adults.
Grown-ups, always use the Green Cross code, because I won't be there when you cross the road.
Another important
poor
part of
dude.
road and driving safety that was often promoted was wearing seatbelts, with the most well-known of these featuring Jimmy Savile, who, let's just say, is not as fondly remembered as David Prowse, for reasons I can't really talk about here.
It's very likely that 400 of you will be injured in your cars tomorrow. Why let it happen? Clunk, click, it's so simple. Clunk the car door, click the seatbelt, even if you are just going around the corner, clunk, click every trip.
But speaking of seatbelts, this PSA made by the Northern Irish Department of Environment in 2001 chose to go a completely different route from the light-hearted, child-friendly PSAs of the 70s. It's about a young man named Michael, who's going for a drive with his girlfriend and their friends. It seems nice enough until the narrator says that Michael is going to hit his girlfriend so hard that she ends up with permanent brain damage. At first the viewer's left wondering, what do they mean by that? And then it happens. The friend of Michael who's driving isn't watching where he's going and crashes into an oncoming car. Everyone in the car is wearing their seatbelts, except for Michael, who's flung into the front of the car, hitting one of his friends in the face in the process. Another car then crashes into the back of their car, flinging Michael into the back. In doing so, his body collides with the driver's head. He then collides headfirst twice with his girlfriend, before being thrown into the car window. We then cut to the aftermath, where a paramedic says that Michael and his 2 friends died, with Michael being the one who did the damage. Because he chose not to wear his seatbelt, his carelessness led to the death of his 2 friends and left his girlfriend with permanent brain damage. Had he worn it, everyone in the car would most likely have still been seriously injured, but would probably have survived. Seatbelts exist for a reason. They seem so simple and mundane, but they're designed to save our lives in the event of a car crash. And by choosing not to wear one, you're basically signing.
This dude is correct. They're simple and mundane to the appearance. They might seem small and useless as well. To some people, you might even say some conspiracy theorists or crazy people out there would go, oh, they're just there to make you feel better. No. Yes, they don't always work. Like, yes, sometimes there can be faulty. But even in modern day, I'm pretty sure they should be double checking to make sure that you click them, you close the door, and you don't die. They use crash dummies to even do this. So, if a crash dummy, my 4-year-old, I think he's 4, yeah, my 4-year-old brother will even yell at me saying, you didn't click my seatbelt, if I forget. Or in this case, he's getting older and he's even doing it by himself, and I have to be there to double check to make sure everything's okay. We even have little clicking sounds and the little things that he has. They even click, so we know that he did it. So yeah, if a little kid can hook in his seatbelt, why can't you? Do you want to be thrown out your car window? I don't think so.
Your own death warrants, and possibly those of the people traveling with you.
3 dead in this vehicle. The girl is critical. They say the guy without the seatbelt did the damage.
No seatbelt, no excuse. From DOE, supported by AXA Insurance.
Save up to 70%.
Powerful stuff. 1988.
This is the other PSA about the dangers of electricity that I mentioned earlier in the video. Unlike Play Safe, this PSA didn't
Or in one of the last videos that I did.
try to lighten the mood by including colorful cartoon characters, and didn't ease the viewers into it by showing people surviving being electrocuted. Almost everyone who comes into contact with electricity dies. The film shows Darren and his younger brother Tom seeing a motorcycle which Darren dreams of riding.
I want to go on it.
Hey, Gary, you're gonna have to give me a go on this at the weekend.
Maybe.
I'll see ya.
It's Darren. Wait for Tom. Supposed to be looking after him.
On the way, they meet their friend Andy and begin walking to school together. On the way there, they're harassed by a gang of teenagers who chase them all the way to an electricity substation.
I call a gaggle of teenager a cringe.
Tom spots a football in there, which Darren tries to break in and get.
Yeah, I think that is actually a football.
Hang on, mate. This place is electrified. Look, just take a look. That's some fighting little kids. You're right if you don't touch anything. I've seen people working up there.
Yeah, well, I don't particularly want to mess around with this type of stuff. It's not worth it.
Come on, Darren. Andy's going.
You're like him. No bottle.
Once they enter class, Mr. Jones, who works for the electricity board, teaches them the dangers of electricity, showing clips of what happened when people ignored or did not know the danger that could be present in the situation. The first clip that Mr. Jones shows is a young boy going fishing, hitting an overhead cable, being knocked unconscious, and falling into the river.
Of course we knew about the electric cables.
Fishing, cable, river, unconscious. Bam. Summed it up.
Fished there loads of times before. He just didn't think. He forgot the pole was so long.
Go!
That lad was burnt, knocked unconscious, and thrown into the river. All because he hadn't bothered to dismantle the fishing pole. His face and hands are gonna...
Wait. Why was this fishing pole so freaking long? Huh? You shouldn't have a need for a fishing pole that long. That's like a tree branch. That's not a fishing pole, that's a tree branch.
be disfigured for life.
The second clip shows a young girl who is playing badminton with her friend. The friend hits the shuttlecock towards a tree with overhead cables in it. When the girl goes to hit the shuttlecock, she accidentally hits the cable, electrocuting her and causing her to drop dead.
Watch out for the wires. They're only for a telephone, silly. I thought she knew those cables were dangerous. Oh my God!
That's a mistake a lot of people make, thinking the power cables are for the telephone. Now, that little girl was electrocuted by the supply to the house.
The third clip shows a young boy cycling inside an abandoned warehouse, where they smash things until a boy whacks a socket with a pipe, much to the excitement of his friend. The boy then hits the socket repeatedly, causing the spark